Yeah, I'll kick things off. We'll just jump straight into it, and we'll touch on a bit of introductory stuff when it comes to the theory, but then that will be very few and far in between. We're going to do more of the practical work. So without wasting too much time on my introduction, let's just jump right in. I created a new ChatGPT account, so we can start with the free and eventually progress into the paid version. So, as I'm sure most of you here are familiar with, this is what we get on a ChatGPT window on our computers. You can start with a simple, let's use something that I wrote for this course, which is, I'll try to share the more complex prompts. Okay, this is a different one, which is, I did a bit of customization behind the scenes, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it. I tried to customize my ChatGPT to be to be a personality that I would enjoy talking to, because we're going to spend a lot of time talking. So, yeah, one personality I use is Mr. Meeseeks, which is from Rick. It's just a parody from Rick and Morty. But the idea is create a personality that you are comfortable talking to, and then yeah, basically, I'm going to show you how to get things started. And as time goes on, it's going to get a bit complex. So bear with me if I'm going a bit slow right now. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We'll start with the customized feature over here, where you tell ChatGPT how you think and how, who you are. What I tend to do is I make these three interchangeable. These what you do, what traits should ChatGPT have, and anything else ChatGPT should know about you. What you do, instead of being straightforward and saying, I'm a carpenter, you could go go in more detail. Mention I'm a carpenter who is looking to pivot into quantum physics. And I have a bachelor's, in arts. In basically something. Give it enough information about what makes you who you are, and separate that. That should be different from anything else ChatGPT should know about you. Even though this looks like it's just one line, it just wants one line, you can actually go further. I can actually explore multiple lines down. So I'm trying to give it as much context as you can. The reason I recommend doing that here is because this one has a limit. And if you want to really dial in the personality, you could have some limitations. So I use Mr. Meeseeks personality from Rick and Morty, relentlessly outcome-driven, very cheerful. Hey, I'm Mr. Meeseeks, look at me. That sort of personality. And yeah, I also try to use a Gen Z personality, because a lot of social media speaks in Gen Z language. You want your AI to be chatty. If you want it to be chatty, obviously, generally, AIs are chatty. So if you want an extra chatty one, then I guess you can tick this box. And you can set the custom structures much further here. But ChatGPT recently introduced this feature, which allows you to choose one of these personalities. The nerd, if you are, if you want more, a much geekier approach into stuff. The listener makes you kind of obnoxious. The robot, if you really want to get a deep dive without being biased. And then the cynic also is close to the robot. I think the cynic and the robot are quite similar in my testings. And anything else ChatGPT should know about you. This is anything else that could not fit into this space. Just put that in there. And you can, obviously the best thing is to activate all of these. Or maybe it's not so obvious, but then it's recommended to activate all of these. It gives you the maximum usage. So with this personality, and let's just say I'm an AI consultant. Yeah, an AI expert looking to pivot into consultancy. Let's give it that. And save this. Typically, I like to refresh my chats before I apply it. So obviously, it's already shown us the Mr. Meeseeks personality, so that took away the surprise. But then let's just act like this the first time. Who are you? And it gives us a bit of this. It tells us the personality I defined, and it tells us what's under the trunk, what is under the hood. And we've got GPT-5 and what it does. Yeah, I don't really like my AI to be too much of a cheerleader, but to each their own. So the next part is your settings. Try to, as you can see, mine shows these yellow accents. It's not really a breakthrough feature, but you can always change the accent color of your text to look differently. Set a voice to match a voice you're happy with. I would skip over to the, well, there's notifications, you don't really need those, but personalization, we just edited the custom instructions. So that's how you do it. Referencing saved memories is, what we've got over here. I've got some memories over here about my course, the films I've made, the courses I've. This is a new ChatGPT, so it doesn't really have much. And yeah, that's what you can create memories. You can reference the memories that you've saved over here. I'm going to show you guys how to do it in case you don't know how to do it yet. And we can reference chat history, which is another new feature that allows us to, continue a conversation from a previous chat in a new chat, and have ChatGPT kind of remember some parts of that conversation. The file uploads, I don't really use it much, even in my personal ChatGPT. But then if you think this might be the best approach for you, what allows you to do is to easily upload files from there, from these services. People in the States have more features than us in the UK. So it doesn't really have much benefit to us as it stands right now. Improving the model for everyone. If you don't want ChatGPT to read, if you don't want OpenAI to read your messages and call it fair use, turn this off. Obviously, they're still going to read your messages, but then, just turn it off so they don't train the new models on those. And you can archive all chats if you've got too many chats, and you can access the chats you've already archived over here. I've archived a couple of them just so I can give it a fresh look. And you can export your data. Always turn on your multi-factor authentication because you're going to be talking about sensitive stuff with ChatGPT and you don't want that going anywhere. This final bit is the Custom GPT. Once you start paying for ChatGPT and you build a Custom GPT that you share, we'll get to the Custom GPTs. The name over here, the community builder name, is going to be the name of the bank card that you use to pay ChatGPT. So to pay for your ChatGPT when you start paying. So if you are not using your own bank card, try to switch this off. It will give you the option to switch it off once you're paying ChatGPT. Basically, you verify your identity, and you can switch this to be community builder rather than the name of the person on the card. So this is what these are the basics of the settings. So if you already know, I hope you've learned something new. But we'll jump straight into doing something practical with ChatGPT. And the first thing I want to do is to run something in the background while we move things forward. So let's consider. I want to create a use case around an AI consultancy, which is something that I am personally interested in exploring further. I wrote a prompt, so I'm just going to copy that and save us having to wait for me to type everything in here. So the canvas is the best place to start, actually, because people don't realize how useful this tool can be. Primarily, the canvas allows you to basically edit the same files with ChatGPT. So if you're a writer and ChatGPT wrote something for you, you can use this kind of canvas to kind of work with ChatGPT to edit what's already been written. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. What the real use cases for Canvas is basically coding. Coding is one of the use cases of Canvas that many people kind of sleep on. You don't need to know any coding to be able to explore Canvas. And yeah, basically, I'm just going to show you so we can see how it runs in the background. Using the consultancy use case, I've told it I want to build a client value calculator that uses basically, we're going to figure out what the client is struggling with, feed that into a web application, and then use this to help us find out how the client can benefit from having us as an AI consultant. So we turn on the canvas, which I don't know if you saw me do that from here. Drop down more in canvas and then run this. It's going to start coding in the background. So while it's running this, let's open a new chat separately. This is running here. The next thing we're going to run in the background is research, which you guys have probably, maybe I should probably stop saying you guys already tried it, but deep research is another feature of ChatGPT that allows us to basically run a deep research. Personally, what I use the deep research for is to, if someone is very, if I don't know someone or I'm trying to learn about someone, mostly that's mostly in the film industry. That's where I practice that. I do a deep research on them. I recently tried looking for a script supervisor that could teach me about their craft, and I found someone who worked on Superman. Apparently she doesn't have a social media presence, but then using the deep research, I was able to scrape everything I could learn about her and find out who her agent is, and was able to basically find out the contact for the agent that I can reach out to. So if you want to do a deep research into a topic that you don't have the time to do yourself, the deep research feature over here comes in handy. Tying into our use case for the AI consultancy, I have put together this prompt for the deep research, which is to research London SMB niches where AI workflow builds or save them hours. So basically, this is going to be like a research topic that we can use to back our AI consultancy. So since this also takes a while to run, we are going to let it run in the background. And the thing about research is it initially starts by asking you these questions, these follow-up questions. If you want to go into detail, AI for AI workflow builds, are we focusing on no-code, low-code tools? Or are you open to more custom? I would want to focus on no-code and low-code tools. So just do one, and then if you don't want to type, like if you like skipping the typing, just go copy and paste. And then two, what stage are you in? Let's just leave that as NA, not applicable. And then three, do you want me to focus on London SMBs? Yes, only London SMBs. And then finally, any specific channel preferences, LinkedIn code, I'll prefer LinkedIn. So let's use that. So we leave this to run in the background. It's still running on Mr. V6, which is pretty cool. So we've got this running in the background. Let's go back and check on our canvas. So it's created a code. Let's go check out what the code looks like. Click on this here to view the code. But then I'm just going to run it from here. So the code should be able to run in Canvas, hopefully. Let's see how it goes. There you go. We've got a pretty decent looking client value calculator. You can move the slider around, and then it automatically calculates these. Yeah, but this is one of the most simplest code systems or features I've coded with Canvas. You can go much more in depth. I've seen some really exciting use cases for this Canvas, but this runs right in Canvas, or you can copy the code and go to your if it's an HTML, open your domain of choice. If it's Python, open your programming platform of choice and paste it in there and run it. And yeah, there you go. You have your code you can run internally. You can export as PDF, export as CSV, and that is Canvas for you. It's pretty cool. The other cool thing about coding with ChatGPT is if I were not happy with the code, I could go in there and go like, the visuals are underwhelming, and could do with more color. Say relevant graphs, yeah, so we don't get this customer. I wonder how it's gonna, pull this off, but you can just tell it this. So once again, I don't need to know any form of coding to be able to pull this off. This is what's called vibe coding. It's a new form of coding that everyone talks about. So if you've heard vibe coding and you didn't understand, this is pretty much it. Just talk to an AI in human language and it codes your stuff for you. So we've got this running. We've got the research running in the background. So now let's go and have a simple conversation with still coding. Let's have a simple conversation with our ChatGPT about our AI consultancy. So this is something that I wrote. Well, I got the AI to rewrite for me. You're helping me launch an AI consultancy in London. I help creatives, entrepreneurs, and department leads turn ChatGPT into workflows that saves time, and it's, you know, it lifts all the. So the deliverable here is, you know, a JSON block with 10 tasks that I can paste into ClickUp. I don't really use ClickUp, so I'm just gonna remove that and switch that into Notion and run that. Oh, I've hit my limit rate, which is perfect because this is a perfect time for us to start to consider switching into the paid plan. With a free plan, we have these limits that we hit every now and then. It tells us when it's going to reset, 3:13 p.m. Let's run the code in the meantime. What did we get with our code? Uh, 3 years later. Okay, that's actually worse than the first one because for some reason it's hidden the text now. I need to highlight, but it's not too bad. And just like we did previously, we can go and vibe code and say the text is missing, or you can use your snipping tool to, you know, take a picture of it. Like I've got a snipping tool of, you can't see that unfortunately, but I just use my snipping tool to select this, copy that, and then paste it into the chat. Let's close this so you can see what I'm doing. Paste the image you just copied, and then say, you know, it's not working, something like that. And it would, you know, the best way to actually give ChatGPT feedback for coding is to actually take screenshots because it can see the results. You know, it's an AI; it doesn't get to see the results. So showing it the result gives you the better results, a better solution to the problem you've had. So this is pretty much what summary of what the free feature offers you. The other things we were not able to touch on, obviously this is one of them, but then think longer is something we will do when we enter into the paid plan. The deep research is running in the background. We only have four users for the deep research per month, and it resets. But then there's so much more you can do in the paid plan. This, for now, is a summary of the beginner process. This is still running, by the way. A beginner process of using ChatGPT as a creative or as an entrepreneur. This is just on a free plan. Obviously, there's so much more you can explore on the paid plan. I can only hope you guys are learning something new because that would be the biggest win. So, oh, yeah, there you go. We've got our results. That was faster than I expected and not well presented. But there you go. This is what the research feature gives you, the deep research feature. It's explored everything. You can, you know, click there to open in this this bubble, and then you can download or to share the link for someone else to read through it. But let's see what we got. We got healthcare, rising paper patient body. Okay, so these are the decision makers. Well, this is actually not bad at all. I mean, I don't know. I would need to go into it in more depth. Is the free plan enough if you have enough patience? Yeah, I think that's the only way the free plan could be enough for someone who wants to leverage ChatGPT. You need to be ready to be. You need to be willing to be patient. Give it time to reset. As you can see, it gave us a time when it will come back 3:13. And if we compare that to 11, let's say it was 11:13, most likely before 11:13, but let's say 11:13 to 3:13, we've got like 4 hours of waiting time. So if you can wait 4 hours for ChatGPT to reset, then you're golden. The other thing I've noticed is it should be able to use a lesser model to run it. Yeah, there you go. It would use a lesser model once you hit the limit for the current model it's on. It will switch to this lesser model and answer it. These lesser models are not the best, but you know, if you are willing to live with this, then the lesser models are infinite. You know, you can use them infinitely on the free plan. But then the top models, the best models would only reset. You can only use those a few times, and they reset every couple of hours or every couple of use cases afterwards. So that is everything for our free plan. We're going to be transitioning to the paid plan, and we'll discuss if it's for you and what you should consider before you subscribe to a paid plan. All right, so here is the ChatGPT paid plan. I made a commitment to go to the pro plan, but then let's explore the various plans first before we jump into everything. All right, so you can upgrade your plan there, and these are the three options. I mean, this is not really an option, but here's the paid plan. Here's the free plan that we just explored. Now switching to this plan, this is the most recommended plan for anyone who wants to, be a who wants to explore the full features of ChatGPT. I was on this plan for the longest time. It was more than enough for me to explore. For most of the time, I didn't even have to use all my credits for the research, because you have 40 research usage, you have 40 agents usage, you have access to Sora to generate videos. The image generation is much faster. You have it in free. I did not touch on it in free because it's really slow, and I don't want us to waste our time waiting for an image that's generate. But there's more you can explore over here, and as much as possible, try to stick within this plan. You don't need to touch the pro plan. Pro plans are for people who really if you can see yourself making money through using your ChatGPT, then go pro. If it's just for assisting you with your work, or putting together a couple of articles, putting together SOPs, putting together research documents, all that kind of jazz, go with a plus plan. Avoid the pro plan. You most likely might never need to use the pro plan throughout your entire ChatGPT use case, season. So yeah, for now, if you are considering purchasing ChatGPT, Plus is the place to go, and yeah, I would recommend it, because we'll find out. Actually, I'll show you why it's worth it. So let's switch to the other plan now that we've seen the three available. Well, they've also got a business one, which is paid annually, so £25 per user annually. So yeah, if you've got the money and you want to invest into these extra features that they've got. I've not actually explored these before. I know I've heard people talk about it, but it really doesn't benefit the average user much, so we don't need to touch on it. What will really benefit you the most is this. If you're considering getting paid plan, this is my endorsement that go for it. Don't get stuck behind the wall of waiting for ChatGPT to reset, or also you can do more with your paid plan than on the free plan. So let's switch back to this. Okay, so with these ones, let's start by exploring the models. Once you pay for ChatGPT, there used to be these models that were available previously. They were pretty cool. I mean, they were what everyone was used to, and we kind of got used to them until GPT-5 came and changed the whole game. But as you can see here, I'll just use this image to explain the various models. Before we go into the 5, here is what the 4 models look like. Using Naruto imagery, the 4 is the most positive, the most excited one. I'm sure if you've been following the Twitter sphere, people got really pissed off at ChatGPT for removing this model, because it's your biggest fan. It's always got your back. It's like, yeah, you go get it, girl. I got your back. It's the best. Is the most supportive one. Also, the one that can make you very obnoxious, because it's always supporting everything you say. The O3 is the thinking model. It's very slow. It takes its time to really get its facts right before it speaks. And yeah, you don't use it much, but it's also really useful if you are willing to wait for the model to think through its process. O4 Mini and O4 Mini High are very similar. The only difference is the Byakugan, the visual reasoning that this one has. But then they are both equally fast. And the 4.5 allows, it's the most creative one. Personally, when I'm creating something, when I'm writing, when I want to get into creative work and I'm brainstorming, 4.5 is the best place to start. And whenever you run, I don't know if any of you has ever run out of using 4.0. I mean, that's why I decided I had to go pro, because no one really runs out of using 4.0, but I got there eventually. When you run out of 4.0, the next best one is 4.5, because it has similar capabilities. These 03, 04, 04 Mini, they're quite different. They don't have the same capabilities as this 4 and 4.5. But Now that we've got GPT-5, you might not need to explore these too much. I just want you to know they are there, and you can, you can switch them if you find yourself frustrated with the GPT-5 models. By default, ChatGPT turned off all these models and only gave us these ones. If you're on the Plus plan, you have Auto, Instant, Thinking Mini, and Thinking. You have these 4 here. But then if you're on the Pro plan, you've got this Pro one. And then you can turn on the ones I just showed you, the Naruto images. You can turn those on by going into your settings. If you're on the Plus plan, only on the Plus plan, only on the paid plan, that is Plus and Pro. Go into settings and click on show additional models right here. And it shows you additional models. The other thing you can control in your paid plan is when you use agents, it saves a lot of data inside the agents. So, try to go into this space and delete your remote data, browser data as often as possible. We've not got into agents yet, but I just want you to know it's there, and be careful of it. Try to delete it as often as possible, so that if someone, for some reason, by some means possible, got access to your virtual desktop, they would not be able to do so much damage. So here you've got, in a paid plan, you've got these options. It looks less than the other one, but it's not. It's actually more, just really shrinking, piled up together. You can add more images and photos in the paid plan, 10 at a time. But you can upload, I think, up to 90 images per. I don't know if it's daily or per couple of hours for the Plus plan. Well, the Pro plan is infinite according to them. You can upload from your Google Drive if you linked it, or you can simply just upload from your PC. Agent mode is one of my favorite, is what the main reason why I started paying for a Pro plan, but we'll get into that when we get there. Deep research we've touched on, study and learn, turn it on for your kids. Web search is web search, and we would get started with a use case. So we're going to start with projects, which is this folders here on the left-hand side. The primary, if you've been using ChatGPT for quite a while, if you've used it for years, you probably have a lot of chats. So projects is relatively new. So what you can use projects for, one of the easiest use cases is to sort the various chats you've had over the years. These are chats that I had, from 2022 back with GPT 3.5. I use these to sort them easily. This is what a project screen looks like. It gives you the title of the project here that you can update when you click on the name. Now, add files. The files you add over here in the project are files that the ChatGPT will always refer to when about to respond to you in this project. Let's say if you add a file here to talk about this story universe. This is based on a universe I created. Every time we start a chat over here, it's going to reference the universe to be able to answer you. But then what goes over here is just the various chats or the various conversations you've had in the project. So the various conversations you've had in the project will not be referenced for new conversations. If you want it to be referenced, if you want something to be referenced, you need to add it in the file section as a PDF or as an image or as a CSV file, basically an Excel spreadsheet file. Basically, add your files over here. This way, every time you are chatting with your project, is going to reference these files. It would not reference these conversations unless they are recent. Now, the part that excites me most about projects is these custom instructions. So, assuming I decide to add some files here. So I've got these two production documents. I use ChatGPT agent to create these production documents. Basically, I've got this, production document. What they contain is, it's not really useful information, but let's just put that in here as the file. Now we go into the custom instruction, and what we can do is basically tell the agents, you help we report based on the production files uploaded. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The part that you can really benefit from the most with these custom instructions is to tell it something like, when I type, this is vibe coding, by the way, you don't need to code it. When I type reports in this format, when I type reports, you can put in quotations. When I type reports, autonomously review the documents and produce a full report. So you only need to do this once, and then when I type generate, you generate 5 images based on the report, one after the other.
Sorry.
Yep.
What exactly do you mean by vibe coding?
Oh, okay. So vibe coding is like the way I speak to you to tell an AI to perform, or to tell a software to perform a process. Let me rephrase that. So, just like we did earlier when we looked at the what's it called, the canvas, when we're in the canvas section and we used it to design a web application, right? Do you recall that section where we created a web application?
Yeah, I recall that.
So yeah, I used natural language to tell the AI to create that web application. I did not need to code it. So that process of telling the AI to, build this for me and told it to tailor this, to fit that whole process is what's known as vibe coding.
Okay, so it's giving instructions to create something just using standard language, basically.
Human language, correct. There you go.
All right.
All right. So, and the final one, let's say when I type code, let's put that into this. Use Canvas to create a visual, an interactive. Let's call it interactive. Let's make it interactive at all. Interactive. Oh, sorry, where's my spelling gone to? An interactive visual graph. So these are the instructions we've given to it. Custom instructions, set these, give us a moment to save. So we've got our files, which is these reports, these production reports, and we've got our custom instructions. So if I open a chat and I type this code, what it does is immediately, oh, darn it, sorry, my apologies. I've set the model to Pro, which is not the goal, which is not what I intended to do. So let's go back there again. Always ensure to change your model. This is a trap I find myself falling into often. I'll tell you the difference. Auto, ChatGPT decides. Now, if we use auto, OpenAI wants to save costs. They don't want to, they don't want you to, use up too much energy or too much energy basically, but with your prompt. So if you set auto, it will almost always choose instantly by default. Almost. In some cases, it would, allow you to, it would switch to the deep thinking. So auto, not recommended unless you're willing to let ChatGPT, drive for you. But then instant, set instant if you want to use instead of using instant, use auto. I would recommend because it will always switch to instant or thinking mini. Now, thinking mini, I would say avoid it because it's, excuse my language, the dumbest of the models. It's much dumber than even the older models. So thinking mini, you don't need that. The only good thing is that it uses less energy. So if you want to save the planet, then thinking mini is your way to go. Now, thinking is for detailed answers. It thinks shorter than the research. The research thinks for a longer time. Thinking thinks shorter than the research, but thinks long enough to be able to give you a better answer. And to be fair, when GPT-5 was introduced, or when they were showing us the benchmarks of GPT-5, without thinking turned on, it's quite dumb. Excuse my language once again. Without thinking turned on, it's not very intelligent. It's, but then once you turn on thinking, then it starts showing you how smart it can be. They show the benchmarks in, running in tests, scenarios and answers. And if thinking is taking too long, 4.5 for creativity, 4.0 for positivity, 4.1, people don't use it much, but it's ideal for coding. If you want to code, 4.1 is the way to go. 0.3 for detailed thinking, for longer thinking, And O4 Mini is similar, is the one who thinks fast, but no one really uses O4 Mini, so just forget about O4 Mini. So yeah, in this case, let's go back. Let's set it. Let's try it again. Let's set code, and I'm going to set it to auto. Just in this case, for trial's sake, let's just see if it's going to choose to think or not think. It's currently reading my documents, it's searching project files, and then yeah, it's understood the process well. As soon as I wrote code, there you go, it's coding. So if you are running a project, or if you have a process that you run multiple times, use the project approach. Put every time you run it, put it under the project file, and also use these custom instructions here. To set simple parameters like whenever I type this, just automatically go forward and give me this result. When I type that, let's run the code and have a look at what it created for us. I wonder what it's going to be, because yeah, I wonder what it's going to be. All right, it's installing packages and all that kind of jazz. So let's try again for generate. I don't know if generate was what I said, but let's try it again for generate while this is running. So it's run successfully. Let's see, what did it run? So as you can see, it's, this is the graphs we created for us. Where did it go? So it'll be more likely to give me the result I'm looking for. But because I tried to do it in the same chat as the code, as the canvas, it was trying to, merge the same thing. But there you go. This is what I meant by generate. It's automatically generating the images based on the report. So in your use cases in the real world, here's one way you can use agents to benefit you. ChatGPT 5, it's a funny feature, but it's just something you can take note of. When you ask it to generate one image, it will by default generate 2 images in this format. So just keep that in mind. If you ask for 25 images, you are likely going to end with 50 images. So this is the agent. I'm sorry. So my apologies. I got too excited. This is the project for you. Projects are very similar to custom GPTs. The difference is that with projects, we can put everything together into the same folder, basically sort everything this way. But in custom GPTs, it's similar. The difference is that you can't really merge them together, but also a custom GPT is kind of something you can share. It's like you can create something that is useful to you. Like my first custom GPT was we can come back to that image later. When an image is generating, you can go off the chat, but when it's generating code or writing text, don't go off the chat. Also cancel. So these are my GPTs I've created. Let's see, where are the rest of them? Come on. There you go. So my first custom GPT was this gig creator. So I was using Fiverr at the time, and the goal is, it uses it. Once you feed it your information about what you want to sell on Fiverr, it would create a Fiverr gig for you. It will create the text for you to copy and paste into Fiverr. And I'm going to show you what's under the hood. Let's look underneath the hood. Oh wow! Wait, I didn't see that, guys. You didn't see that? 1K chats. 1,000 people have used my custom GPT. That's so cool. I didn't know that. Anyway, this is what a custom GPT looks like under the hood. Once you try to create one, it will show you the screen where you can vibe code over here by saying, I want my custom GPT to do this for me. So for instance, in this case, it's the role is a Fiverr gig creator, which is an autonomous tool that creates complete Fiverr gigs for users based on their initial inputs. So I scraped Fiverr, found all the parts that they needed to complete, and I put them in there for the custom GPT. And then it created its own custom conversation starters. But if you want to run it, like this, give me your gig start idea. Let's say I create AI images for create AI images. Let's say that's my Fiverr gig. Once we hit enter, it would go ahead and populate the rest of the fields for us. So it's the gig title. As you can see, Fiverr always starts with I will ... So I will create standard AI generated images for your ideas. And then the search tags, it creates the pricing tiers. And all I needed to do was just tell it that this is the goal, a Fiverr gig creator. So if you create a Fiverr, all you need to do is just copy and paste. And I made it available on the GPT store. So anyone who wants to, create gigs on Fiverr can just go ahead and use mine. And you can have the public ones or the private ones. Most of these are private to me, like my. That's another one that's very useful. If you have a lot of meetings that are recorded, what I do for the film community I'm part of is we record all our meetings and then I move them. I've created this custom GPT where I put the meetings together into the I upload the meeting notes. It only allows 10 uploads at a time, so you might need to get creative. What I did was I put all my PDFs together into one and then merged them into one PDF. So all the meetings for the first half of the year and one PDF, all the meetings for the second half or second quarter, basically you put them together, put a bit of information about your community, in this case, the film production community. I gave the information describing what we do, who we are, all that kind of jazz. And I give it a custom instruction. Your job is to pull information from here to answer queries about the community. So based on this, if I go like, what did the community discuss last time? It pulls from here and it searches its knowledge and then answers the question for you. So this is Custom GPT. Like I mentioned, the only downside is that it doesn't allow you to sort your conversations into projects, like the way the project does. So what you might end up with is a lot of chats, just on this side, So that is Custom GPTs. I hope I at least I gave you enough insight into the difference between project and Custom GPTs. Agents are the best part. It's the reason why AI exists. It's agents. We need to have agents, and the entire point of having agents is that they make it's like the job of the agents is to take your existing workflow and do the parts that can be automated while you focus on the parts that need human intervention. But before we touch on that, I just want to get into a bit of the theory, the mindset. What should I even call it? What should we call that? There's a word I had in mind, but I just lost it. And I take this to heart because I don't want people to get frauded by people promising to give you high returns through AI or basically solve the problems with AI. So let's cover who are the people likely to get rich through AI. There are only 3 people who are likely to get rich with AI. And those 3 are the people who build AI tools, like the coders, the programmers, and all that kind of jazz. The people who own the AI companies that whose services we use, like the rest of all of that kind of jazz. And the third group is the people who invested in AI, those who put their money into AI. So if anyone comes to promise that it can use AI to make you money and it doesn't fit into any of these 3 categories, look at that, approach it with some reservations. A lot of people, are already getting scammed by the promise of great results through AI. So keep this in mind. The 3 people who would earn a lot of the most money with AI are those who own the AI companies, those who build the AIs, and those who invest money into AI. Now, most of us don't fit into any of these 3 brackets. So the question is, how do we make money with AI? The reality of that is, the one thing among the 3 that I mentioned, the only one you can realistically join very quickly is the investor class by investing in AI companies because they are very profitable right now. That could change. So that's one way you could start using AI to earn money by investing in AI companies. The other approach is to actually, get into building it yourself. So either you become an AI programmer, learn, Python, learn the AI fundamentals, and start, building your own AI tools, getting to work for Microsoft, because it's a minefield. Like, people are actually, that's a minefield, gold field. People are getting so much money, like Microsoft and Meta and all the others are. They are, I don't know, jumping over each other's head. They are paying good money for AI programmers. So if you want to, get into that race, while it's still hot, because AIs are soon going to start programming themselves. But while it's still hot, if you think you can learn quickly enough, you can learn how to build AI tools or build an AI company and hire people to build AI tools for you. That is another approach. And the final group is where most of the rest of us fall into is, AI is not going to make you money back like that. Like, you're not just going to you're not just going to open an AI tool and suddenly make money, but then you need to know your crafts. So people who really know their crafts are the ones who can benefit the most from AI. And this is what leads us, into agents. Basically, agents will not do the work for you if you don't know the work you're trying to do. So if you are good at, if you're a filmmaker, for instance, you can use AI to cut out a bit of your filmmaking work. For instance, I recently shot a film and I used AI for the whole pre-production process. I mean, most of the pre-production process. We storyboarded using AI. I used AI to create an entire AI film to show what the film should look like. We used AI for, basically going over our meeting notes, like what I showed you from the community. We pretty much, when we have our chats, we use AI to review our meeting notes. We used AI to discuss as much as possible, even with the production of the film itself, with a post-production as well. I anticipate using AI for some of the VFX. So if you know your craft and you know where you struggle with the most, you can use AI to fill in those gaps. So those are the three groups of people who, that's the rest of us. That is the way we can use AI to make money. And like I mentioned, try to avoid people who promise to use AI to, invest money for you, or who promise to use AI to double your income or whatever the heck. Be careful of grifters, be careful of scammers. They are now, AI has now leveled the playing field for everyone. So whereas back in the day, scammers could not even, some of them could not spell properly, they can now spell as well as a PhD holder. They can now speak as well as a PhD holder. It's leveled the playing field for everyone, and that's both in good terms, in good ways and bad ways. So try to keep an eye out and don't fall for these get rich quick schemes that promise to use AI to solve or to fix your problems for you. It's most likely not true. If something promises to be too good to be true, it most likely is. So that is the rant on my end. I just wanted to get out of the way so you guys don't fall into some traps. But we're going to jump into the final part of today's lesson, which is agents. Now, I would want to start off by saying ChatGPT agents are very lazy. Like, they are the laziest agents I've ever seen. The success rate for ChatGPT agents could range from 5%. Yeah, that's how sometimes you could get 5% of the work done and it would say, that's it, I'm done. Or sometimes you could get 200%. It could go above and beyond. Sometimes it will stop running after 1 hour because, 1 hour is a long time. But I've seen some cases where it run for up to 2 hours. So it's very unpredictable. It's also very flawed. As you can see here, it's new. And if you're on a plus plan, you get 40 credits per month. If you're on a pro plan, 400 credits. It looks like a lot. Believe me, it's not. Last month, I had 400 credits, and before I knew it, I was left with 150 credits. Less than 1, no, I was left with 115 credits because so many use cases. I mostly try to explore how to use it for Instagram. I have IG agents here. As you can see, I've got so many. It's not loading up the rest. Yeah, there you go. I've got so many agents that I try to use to manage to run an Instagram account. And it was so frustrating because the agent, like I mentioned, it's very lazy, which leads me to a personal theory. I kind of think OpenAI is paying some people in India to use the agents to work for us, because really the agents they get so sometimes, like especially during certain blocks of hours, sometimes in the day, it's just lazy. Just sometimes you could just flat out refuse to work, and it doesn't refund you the credits you've used. As you can tell, I'm very frustrated about it. It's a very frustrating issue of mine. But that being said, it's very useful. It's done things that that would usually take me weeks to complete. It's able to do them within that 1 hour window, that 2 hour window. As someone who explores filmmaking a lot, I like to visualize stories. I'm more into world building, so I like to look at the bigger pictures, look at the world, look at what my characters look like. And yeah, the agents, it's really good at using ChatGPT agents to create, at using ChatGPT itself to create stuff. So usually when I have to generate images, I have to prompt generate the images. They will generate one. I'm like, no, generate 5 of them one after the other. And it will still generate one, and like generate 5 of them after the other. It will generate the same image 5 times. So it can be frustrating to do it myself, but then when I outsource it to an agent, it's like, it knows what it's talking to itself. So it's much more locked in. I'm going to show you an example of what these agents prompts look like. They are not the friendliest of looks. As you can see here, I call this one the Byakugan Sharingan. As you can see, I'm a Naruto fan. But basically, the prompts for the agents can be as long as this. Now, this is not the longest of prompts. This is actually pretty short. But you can have some really detailed prompts for the agents. These are still quite short, to be frank. But then, point is, the ChatGPT, in order to get the best out of the ChatGPT agents, you need a very detailed prompt, which ties back to what I said about if you know what you're doing, you can get the most out of agents. For today's example, for instance, I want to use it to manage a LinkedIn account, which is, this is the Instagram use case. I'm going to do well to share the final Instagram prompt I created to be able to. What it does is it posts for me, which is funny. I've created a folder, an online folder where I've put a bunch of images and videos. So what it goes into that folder, picks an image of the video, downloads it, goes into Instagram, posts it, a response to various DMs, it comments on people's posts, the prospects. So the agent, so that's what I get an agent to do for me on Instagram. And I was trying to get an Instagram in particular right, because I don't like using Instagram. Like, it's so frustrating to being on Instagram for me, but then I know a lot of my target audience are there. So by creating an agent to do that part of the work for me, all I have to do is just run the agent once or twice every day. It does my prospecting, it compiles everything, sends me my text file and my CSV file with my prospects all in there, which is, as you can imagine, a very great use case. For filmmaking, I've got agentic films. This is where I actually get into more detail because I needed to really lock in. But you can get really long prompts like this. It gets much longer than that. But basically, there is you need to the more you want from the agent, the more you need to be willing to tell the agent to do, and also you need to be willing to give access to the agent, which has its own ethical dilemma. You need to understand or decide for yourself: are you satisfied with a ChatGPT agent having access to your Instagram account for 1 hour nonstop? Are you happy with giving access to your LinkedIn for 1 hour nonstop? So I'm going to pop in my prompts. This is the prompt I have created. Now, the prompts are the version of this prompt that I've created was initially to work on Instagram, but then I found out this morning that Instagram and a couple of other providers have now turned off. They don't really allow the agents to explore. So when you try to log in, it creates these obstacles. But the only one that did not create an obstacle was the LinkedIn. I have one Instagram still logged in, but I can't log into any further Instagram account. So in this case, I'm going to give it a chance to log into my LinkedIn account. This is the prompt that's tailored to Instagram specifically. So what you can do, this is something you could probably practice in your own life with a prompt that I share to you. Take the prompt I've shared with you, right in the new chat that, tailor this prompt to my LinkedIn account instead of Instagram. And then open these square brackets, pop the prompt in there, and hit enter. Give it a moment. It's going to rewrite the entire prompt. I don't know which version it's using, but it's writing so slow. But basically, it's going to rewrite the entire prompt based on realized in 2001. Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So it's going to create the entire prompt over here for tailored to LinkedIn. Let's copy all of this. Just the part that's necessary. System role. This is not a very detailed prompt, but let's just go with that. It picks on a bit of my personality. I aspire to be a mixture of Kevin Feige, George Lucas, and Christopher Nolan in my filmmaking. The AI people I follow are Matt Wolf, Matt Vic Pro, Matthew Berman, Curious Refuge, and AI Advantage. Basically, they're all I try to tell the prompt as much about me as possible. The books I wanted to be inspired by: How to Influence and Influence People, Art of Seduction, 48 Laws of Power, Art of War, and 0 to 1 million followers. So as you can see, I've really dialed in the prompt, and I've asked for a CSV file which shows the initial contact dates, the handle of the people we contacted, their niche, all the how many likes, did you follow them, memo, everything that will be necessary for me to review at the end of the agentic run. So let's open a new chat here. Oopsie, let me just go back here. Yeah, open a new chat here, pop this in there, and then click the plus, agent mode. Wow, I'm back to 399. My numbers keep fluctuating. I don't know if you guys saw, I initially had 391, now it's 399. Yesterday was 195. But anyway, let's not get carried away by that. Set the agent to agent mode, and oopsie, I was trying to look cool. Let's do it again. Enter. And you give it a moment to set up desktop. You guys can have a quick look at what this looks like. We will probably not be able to run the whole agent, but then you can see how it gets things going. So, all right, myself, you've got it, blah, 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 blah. I'll start by verifying a LinkedIn account, gathering prospects, and it creates this virtual desktop. This is where the agent works from. So I did log in, but I don't know, it's logged me out. So it's going to ask you to take over. Whenever you take over, it uses 1 additional credit. See why I get so frustrated with this. And you only have 40 credits on the plus plan, but then they make you use credits at each juncture. Anyway, click over here, take over, and then I'm going to dial in my details, sign in. Let's just put LinkedIn. Let's copy this. Put that there. Let's copy that. No worries. You're not going to see my password, I hope. And then sign in. It needs the authenticator code. Where did I even put my phone? My phone is all the way there. Sorry, guys. 1 moment. Yeah, once you finish, you can give it back control. I'd like to set up. And once you've logged in, just leave it alone, and it will run itself in the background. The good thing about agents is that you can, refresh your screen. It would still come back to that screen. You can close the chat altogether. Basically, because it's a virtual desktop, it doesn't need you to be present. I see that LinkedIn is currently logged in under. Oh God damn it! You know what? It's trying to switch to my actual Mikhail Gabriel account, but use. And every time I have to respond, it uses an additional credit. So frustrating how much credit it uses. Use the Makonnen account answers. Just wait for it to finish its full run. But that is how agents work for you. You can go ahead and start a new chat. Always come back to check. The thing about if you use the agents in Instagram, it will write this pop-up at the bottom saying sensitive information. So what happens is it will automatically stop the run every time you go off the screen. When you go off the screen, it will stop the run automatically and go like, hey, you've gone off the screen. Do you want to come back? Do you want to come back and make sure I'm doing the right thing? Would like to see it work. Yeah, that's a working right there for you. What I'll do is after the call, I've actually recorded a bunch of agents working in the back working for me. So I'm going to try to speed through one of my agents runs for you guys to see it go through the entire process once I find that. But whilst I'm looking for the video to play for you guys and while this agent is running, do you guys have any questions you have for me? We are reaching the closing moments of the call. So I want to hear your thoughts, your questions, your suggestions and opinions.
I mean, obviously you showed us how to create an agent and how to kind of put that information in. I'm assuming there's a lot of information kind of online, and we can even ask ChatGPT based on what we do, how, based on what our outcomes are, how would they create the agent, right? And it would give us that information.
That is actually a great approach. Yes. So the way I do, based on what you explained, the way I approach that is when I'm prompting the agent, what I tell, this is not that prompt. So I don't have that prompt here. It's in a different screen. But basically what I do is I tell the agent that you are proactive. And this is something that's important to tell the agents. Always tell the agent that it's a proactive problem solver. Else it keeps coming back to you with, I've run into this problem. Do you want to solve it for me? So call it a proactive problem solver, but also tell it to review the instruction. I don't know if that's in here. What I do is mention review the instructions. And this is why I actually give it the personality of these educational qualifications. I don't see any educational qualifications here, but if it's, an MBA in project management is to be able to manage projects, because the whole session is one project. So review the instructions and find any weak spots to strengthen. You can find it a better way of saying that, and rewrite the instruction to be clearer and more impactful or valuable, or whichever what you're going for. So if you add such a line to your prompt, you are likely to have the agent rewrite. So let me see if I can. You can click on this kebab here and click on activity, and it shows you the various activities it's gone through. What I typically ask it to do is to create a file, but because I copied and pasted the prompt, it's kind of took away the key aspects of my personal prompt. What I ask it to do is usually to create a text file at the start. This way, it goes through the text file. It relists the entire project in the text file. Oh, there you go. It actually created a text file. It just didn't do that at the start. So it creates something like this, and it keeps updating it throughout the process. So this is the agents running, still trying to prospect on my behalf. And this could run for, up to 2 hours. I haven't seen an agent run for more than 2 hours. But then it could run from any time from 5 minutes to 2 hours, if it wants to frustrate you or if it really wants to impress you, depending on which of them. I'm still trying to pull up the video for you guys. Bear with me, please.
Are you only using OpenAI, or are you using multiple?
Good question. Personally, I use only OpenAI. Basically, it can work on it doesn't work well on a model that needs time to load. The agent tends to get stuck, and so I tried to use the agent to even edit videos. Obviously, I had to explore that because I wish I could stop editing my own videos. But I tried to use the agent to edit videos in Canva, in what's it called, Adobe Express. But because of the tiny icons in these applications, it's kind of struggles a lot. So when it comes to using user interfaces that have tiny icons and stuff like that, then the agents is pretty much useless. But that being said, there are these other agents, that are like NA10. I don't know if you guys have heard of NA10. It's this platform that allows you to create like really reliable agents. It's probably what I'll be covering the next time I hold one of these, but it's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately. But these NA10 agents, it's more end to end. So basically, you can build an agent that would, let's say, every morning at 8 a.m. As soon as it's 8 a.m., the agent would automatically go online, find out all the information about, let's say, AI, put all the information together into one document, basically format the document into a proper research, put that research, summarize that research, and send it to you as an email that you can read, but also send that message out to a bunch of people as a newsletter. So that is something that anything can do. And also it will post that research on your website if you wanted to. So NA10 is like ChatGPT, agent on steroids. It's the most reliable one. The success rate is almost 100%, like with those agents. I would make some time. I mean, once I've been able to master them to the level that I'm satisfied with, I'll be sure to create one of these courses so that you guys can have a chance to explore those features as well. But that I would end by showing you the video, but before that, this brings us to the end of our session for today. We have spent the last 85 minutes, more or less, 85 minutes exploring AI use cases. We started with a free ChatGPT account, explored the various features of that, and as time went on, we started we dived into projects. We explored how to use custom instructions in the project to be able to easily generate what we want without having to wait, without having to prompt the same thing over and over again in each new project. We've been able to we've been able to explore custom GPTs and when to use them, the various limitations of using custom GPTs. We also touched on Canvas, using Canvas to create code that can be useful for our businesses and also for ourselves. We could even run something fun, like creating a digital Rubik's Cube that solves itself automatically. It's something that I tried recently that was pretty fun. But basically, go crazy, go nuts with the agent with a Canvas mode, because it's almost infinite. You can use that as many times as you want, and create stuff. Try to explore stuff. Create whatever comes to your mind. Maybe there's a code you wanted to create when you were in secondary school, but you did not know how to code. Try it out. Let the agents together at Canvas to do that for you. And if you're a writer and you use AI to write, you could use the Canvas to edit what the AI has written. Just go into Canvas mode, and then you can type in there, and the AI would collaborate with you. And finally, what was the final part? The final part was the agents, which is the best part of the process. We did not touch on images. I'm so sorry about that. But I kind of feel like you guys will be able to generate images by yourself. So I'll leave that to your own capable hands. Agents is the last part we touched on. We've got to learn that the agent is not fully reliable. It uses up a lot of credits with bringing back work to you. You need to really understand the work you are trying to do, and then teach the agents to do that. So basically, prompt that, create your process, and then turn that process into a prompt, and then get the AI to fulfill that process for you. And like Morgan said, you can go online to use you could get the AI to go online to learn additional ways to perform that process, and then implement it in its original code, original instruction. So that's all what we've covered today. You guys are pretty much vibe coders at this point. You can now create your own prompts, your own project, your own custom GPTs, and you can use project like most people are not able to use. That is everything I have on my end. But before I play the agents, is there anything anyone would like to add? I generated film, and the process we went through, the headaches I endured. This actually going to show you how the image generation. So I'm going to speed this up so it plays as fast as it can, because we don't have 59 minutes to sit here. Set this to story, a supernatural story I was writing. I've still not completed a project, but this is what we came up with. It generates its own images based on the script. Excuse me. So all I had to do was just prompt it and leave it. I gave it access to my Adobe Express. It's because that was the time where I was trying to get it to use Adobe Express to edit videos for me, and it was useless. But anyway, I also gave it access to Kling, which is the image to video, where it's able to turn the videos it's generated into images. Sorry, turn the images it's generated into videos with no interruption by no contribution from me aside my initial prompts. Let's see if we can go much faster. Yeah, very much faster. So it stopped, told me it needed help. So I went into Kling, gave it more access, and then it just continued from where it left off. Let's go much faster. Let's go to 1,000. Okay, so it stopped, and I forgot to check on it, but let's see. What do we go next? Yeah, I told it to continue. Went on. It's really struggled with the video editing, but then what I liked about it was that it was able to create all the images I needed. It created it was able to turn all the images into video inside Kling, but then it just could not do the final bit. So yeah, this is me doing my final, but I went into the AI myself to try to finalize the editing. But this is an agent going through its entire process from start to premature ending, because it did not get through the entire process. You can run multiple agents at the same time. Just so you know, this is one that I use for the Instagram account. I have a photography Instagram account. That is the one I find difficult to manage. And yeah, this is the agents running through my Instagram. 3 agents running simultaneously. As you can see, all 3 of them. There you go. So yeah, as you can, like I said, I gave it access to an album. It found the various prospects. It's commented. It's posted for me, as you can see on the top. It's prospecting in the middle. It's prospecting at the bottom as well. Yeah, so agents can be very useful for your work. If there's a particular part of your task that you don't like to pull off yourself, you can use the agents to pull it off and focus, which gives you the free time to focus on doing the stuff that really matter. Wow, guys, thanks so much for sticking around. We've still got the other agents running above here, but the next steps are I'm going to share the prompts, particularly the agent prompts, with you guys. And that's actually, I mean, it's if you like, stories like Game of Thrones, if you like stories like Game of Thrones and nuanced stories like The Shy and stuff like that, you can copy this and look it up on Amazon. It's a pretty good story, if I say so myself. Not to my own horns, but I think it's a pretty good story. Check it out. If you like it, leave a review for it. And finally, leaving a review for this. I'm looking to do more of this. I'm looking to start to help. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the WhatsApp group chat if you're there.